Welcome to the Pruett podcast and our week in IndyCar series. Somewhat belated entry for this week, unfortunately. A little bit of life on the home front taking priority here, having just completed a move for my wife and I. So finally recorded this episode with the final winner of the 2019 season, Colton Herta from the Harding-Steinbrenner team. Did this Friday afternoon, putting up this little intro here Saturday afternoon, and finally getting this episode up. So sincere apologies for those who were wondering and waiting when this would be coming. Later than expected, but I'm sure you understand why. We'll do the Q&A that you sent in. I'm going to try and record that a little bit later today and post that as a separate file. Been enjoying that quite a bit, frankly. Loving the volume of questions coming in, and certainly warrants standalone episodes right there. A lot of fun here with Colton. He really is a gamer when it comes to doing the show. I think he's done, 4 now maybe, of our Week in IndyCar series, and really seems to enjoy the fan Q&A part. So also some really fun in here about Victory Tacos, the Colton Herta, Brian Herta family tradition. Whenever he wins, they go and have celebratory tacos. His story about how he celebrated Monterey, winning at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, with tacos. I just didn't expect it. So I hope you enjoy that. Some really interesting insights from him as well, in terms of his mindset, how he drives, how he views the competition. There's one great question from a listener about next year, joining the Andretti team, knowing that Alexander Rossi, who's been in the title hunt the last 2 years, will be a true direct eye-to-eye teammate, unlike a little bit the way the Harding-Steinbrenner team was set up. Satellite team, Colton was certainly a part of everything that Andretti did, but here, no question, all 100% under the same roof. How's he going to view working with Alexander? If he's in the same situation again where Rossi's going for the championship, Rossi's running second, Colton's running first as he was in Monterey, would he move over to help advance Alexander's championship hopes? Some really good insights here from him. Also talk a little bit about his band, the Zibs, Z-I-B-S, going on tour very shortly here. Close on that a little bit. Just have fun, as usual, with Colton. Tell you what, this kid is a revolution. This kid is something different than we have seen in IndyCar in just about forever. At least the forever I know of, my lifetime. So can't wait to see what his sophomore season looks like, and can't wait to get into the show here. As always, everything we do is brought to you by Cooper Tires. We had a wonderful close to the 2019 IndyCar season on Saturday in Monterey on the Cooper Tires stage in the infield with a ridiculous lineup. Robert Wickens, I believe, making his first kind of major public appearance at a show like this since his accident. We had Joseph Newgarden. I was just going to say James Newgarden. I have no idea why. Joseph Newgarden, who was a one-time champion on Saturday, and by Sunday he was a two-time champion. We had Sebastian Bourdais, Mr. Four-time champ. Scott Dixon reached out and said, hey, I'd love to join in, happy to join in. So, of course. So we added 5 championships there. So at least across the lineup that we had, which also included Brian Herta, we had 10 IndyCar championships represented across Joseph, Dixie, and Sebastian. So that was pretty cool. But most of all, the coolest part was just the fan engagement, the crowd size, just the overall love. Robert walking up those steps probably got a bigger ovation than anybody for anything. We had a great time. The thing we always do, my little tradition, is for the live shows, whoever shows up late, latest I should say, I ask the crowd to boo, and usually catches people off guard. So Newgarden came in a little bit late, although I knew he would, and he told me in advance. He got booed off the stage almost. We had to encourage him to come back. Then Herta showed up late for no reason, and he got quadruple booed, so that was pretty funny. So good time was had. Thank you so much to everybody who came out, and thanks once more to Cooper Tires for just making all of this possible. Also, a huge thanks to the Justice Brothers and their unwavering support throughout this year, and what I hope and believe will be a long-term relationship with all we do here on the podcast, supported by the Justice Brothers, their freaking decades of automotive chemicals, lubricants, you name it, stuff that I've used since my very first year working in motor racing. It's not copy, it's not a commercial, it's genuine truth. The first team that I worked for, my introduction to pro racing, actually my introduction to racing as in any working capacity, but as a pro, happened to be in 1986 in the SCCA Pro Racing Super V Series, and my driver was a distributor, and I believe the primary distributor for the Justice Brothers in the Bay Area. Actually, the name of his company was Bay Area Distributing. Bad company. Light ripoff there. Sorry, Paul Rogers. But yeah, for my very first true doing anything on a race car, 1986, Justice Brothers was the core of everything that I touched in terms of cleaners and lubricants and you name it. So just pretty amazing to get to know the family and actually have them become a part of the show here decades later. And then finally, our super awesome friends at TorontoMotorsports.com. Been doing a thing that we did all last year and maybe even the year before, and we stopped for most of 2019, but been getting back to giving away stuff, just giving away things. And so if you are a person who likes to receive free things, go and check out our Marshall Pruett Podcast Facebook page. A very simple little process. When I send out the request for questions each week, folks send in lots. Folks send in many. And I ask folks to like the questions that they want prioritized that are either posed to our guests or the ones that I answer. All we've been doing, and we think it's a democratic system, is look back and see which question has the most likes. And that person receives a good little Marshall Pruett Podcast pack of goodies from TorontoMotorsports.com. Could be a Week in IndyCar t-shirt, could be a hamburger and french fry t-shirt. If you like our sports car show, we got some stuff over there. T-shirts, stickers, beer koozies and or drink koozies if you don't drink beer. Derek Koska, our pal at TorontoMotorsports.com, just throws a bunch of goodies into a box and sends it to you for having the question that received the most likes. So we do that on our Facebook page, the Marshall Pruett Podcast Facebook page. So check that out. I don't know what you do. Subscribe, like, do a handshake, do something. Whatever you do, that's a place to go. Submit your questions. You can also do those through Twitter. You can also do those through the IndyCar Reddit page. But in terms of the accounting for giving away things, that's done solely on Facebook because it's easy and I'm lazy. And last mention here, thanks to our pals at Bell Racing Helmets USA, another staunch supporter of all that we do. Speaking of staunch supporters, our man Colton Herta, he was on 2 of our live shows as well. So been a really big presence in the podcast here, not only in his rookie IndyCar year, but also last year in Indy Lights, and can just foresee having him on plenty in the future, because the kid is not only a lot of fun as a person, but also pretty darn amazing as a race car driver. So let's get going with our man, Colton Herta, here on the Week in IndyCar, and we will have your Q&A coming up soon-ish in a separate episode for you to enjoy. Thanks again for all the great questions you sent in and all the love that has just been pouring in general from my wife and I. It has not been missed, and it has not been overlooked. Colton Herta, we are recording the Week in IndyCar. I don't know, it feels like a week late. You happen to win what would be my home race at Monterey. I guess it would be your home state race as well. We've got a lot of great questions from folks. Got a little bit of echo here, new echo on the microphone because I'm in our new living arrangement, our new townhome, and I haven't had a chance to put up any sound deadening. So we're just kind of, I was going to say freewheeling it. We're kind of freeballing it, though. This is definitely freeballing it.
I don't think it sounds that bad. I think it'll be all right.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your unwarranted faith and trust here. As we normally do on the good old Week in IndyCar, it's not just you and I bantering and BSing. It is driven by the awesome IndyCar fans, our listeners, who have fired in 1,162 words worth of questions. And so
Jeez.
I know that's like real word writing
awesome.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
So we're going to kick off with our pal, Vincent1701. Thanks for sending in good stuff, Vincent, and wanted to throw this one up top. He says, your father won 4 IndyCar races. You've won 2 in your first year. What keeps you grounded when people call you the next big thing in IndyCar?
Obviously it's I've heard it quite a bit this year. It means a lot, obviously it's a lot of pressure as well.
Who says you're grounded though? I mean, raging ego at the track. That's for sure. Don't allow your crew members to look you in the eye. Everyone must bow and say, yes, sir, no, sir. I mean,
sunglasses inside.
Totally.
No, I don't know. I think it's just, I don't know. I don't think IndyCar drivers are in a position where we've ever, I don't think a lot of us are humble. I don't think we feel like we're superstars. So, I think it's quite easy in that perspective when, I think a lot of these kids that look up to, NBA players or football players and stuff like that, and they're all wearing gold chains and maybe aren't great with the media and stuff. That's kind of where they get it. But IndyCar drivers, you come up and you see everybody is, polite, respectful. No one's an idiot. So that's kind of, I guess, how you stay grounded is you see everyone else doing it and you think, well, there's no need for it.
I just refer to it as big timing, right?
Big timing.
I don't have that many examples of drivers over the years that have, totally tried to big time me, but I've had one or two. Somebody just turned their back when I was trying to ask them a very simple question. We're actually in the media center too, so it wasn't like we were, on pit lane or they were in the middle of a discussion. Just turned their back, and I'm like, wow. You've won Le Mans a couple of times. I get how that could go to your head, but and this where I'm not talking a McNish or Tom Christensen type. I'm talking like someone, a B player compared to one of them, A level guys. And I was like, wow, you're trying on this suit, the big timing suit. That's kind of cute.
Yeah. Fame and fortune goes to people's heads, unfortunately. I
can mention, not that it has anything to do with me, that this person's no longer really driving anymore and hasn't been hired. So I don't know. Maybe the ego did get in the way there. Let's go to our man, Simon Rafi. Wanted to throw this one in second just because, like you, I appreciate the irreverent. He says, Colton, congratulations on the win. Great domination. And he says, with the 25 hours of Thunder Hill coming up, any plans to race there again and to drag up your old man again?
Last time we raced, he was almost positive that it was his official retirement, but I don't know. He said that after every race that he's kind of done in the past 3 years. He's done 2 or 3 races. I'm done. And then another one comes around and he's like, okay, I'll do this.
Wow.
25 hours of Thunder Hill was super awesome. Unfortunately, I didn't get to win it. I finished second, but it's a really cool race. And actually, I think Al Jr. does it almost every year. So there's some big names that actually go up there for that race. So I would definitely love to do it. I don't know if I want to do it in some of the cars that people bring up there. I think I'd want to do it in a proper race car instead of a 92 Miata. But
there is Ryan Eversley's up there. I just saw him. Tom Dyer. They're testing an ex Mazda LMP2 prototype and such that'll be running this year. But to your point, about half,
it's nutty.
Yeah, half of the cars clearly there for the 25 hours of Thunder Hill. The other half got their dates wrong and turned up for the 24 hours of Lemons, and they just were like, "Well, you made the effort. Go ahead and run." So
they thought it was a 20-minute future race.
Yeah, well, so I guess the point being is, if you have a proper entry for this year's event in future, don't hesitate to reach out.
And I don't want to bag on the people that run with the old Miatas and the crap boxes, because that's kind of what makes the race so interesting, and it's kind of what makes the race. It's basically a run what you run.
Totally. And after winning the Rolex 24 at Daytona this year in GT Le Mans, I mean, just saying, there's someone pretty serious for folks to consider here.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Let's go to our pal Tom Schreier. Tom actually came out to the race last weekend in Monterey, and we were able to spend most of Friday together. It was my first time meeting Tom. We actually had become friends here. He had lost his wife to cancer not too long ago, and knowing that my wife's been going through a cancer fight for about a year now, just turned into this amazing person, just a listener who has become a friend and provided some pretty awesome support. So it was really awesome to have Tom out last weekend, Colton, just kind of show him around a little bit from the inside, and he really seemed to enjoy it. So he sent in a question here, one that I think is very timely. He says, Colton, several drivers stated after the race at Laguna that it should not be resurfaced. He says, what are your thoughts? And also congratulations on an amazing season.
Thanks, Tom. And I think I agree. I think it probably shouldn't be repaved. This place is already tough to pass on. And if you repaved it, it would just add that other aspect of equalizing everyone a little bit better. And yeah, I guess there wouldn't be cars going off as much and with tire deg and then being passed easier. I guess you kind of saw it with Rossi and I don't know who else, but you kind of just dropped at the end of the stint for some people if they didn't take care of the tires or their car wasn't set up to take care of the tires. So I don't think it should be repaved. I think it made the racing a lot more interesting. Yeah.
I'm with you. Absolutely with you. I also think, and while it's not a new thing for those who are regular followers of Formula One, I think for IndyCar fans, the phrase of the year that folks have become accustomed to, tire deg. It's just, it's a normal part of our lives, but again, it's been spoken so many times by drivers this year.
Different this year.
Yeah, it's really become part of the vernacular.
If you look at the last 5 years, people never used to start on new reds because the reds were the preferred tire. Now, almost every road course, people are starting on new reds to get off of them and get on the blacks.
Absolutely.
So,
let's go to our man John Sable. Says, Colton, what's going through your head when you're in the car, or more specifically, leading the race on Sunday? Is it totally blank and you're just driving? Are you thinking strategy, tire deg, the gap to who's behind you? Are you humming a song? It was such an impressive drive on track that it seemed real easy to make a mistake. So that's a great point, right? Some drivers we know are very cerebral while performing their craft. In their mind, they're thinking. There are others who we know it's all subconscious, just they're that animal reacting to what's in front of them. Where do you fall when you're, kicking everybody's butt on Sunday at Monterey?
It's weird because, people say different things. Like some people say when they're in the zone, they could be thinking about the weirdest stuff like pizza or baseball or ice cream. And like, it's almost like second nature when you're in the zone and you don't really have to think about the driving. During the race though, for sure, definitely focused. It caught me out a few times, made some little mistakes, nothing that really put me in danger, when I kind of broke focus. And then it's kind of like, oh, that could have turned into something a lot worse. So kind of get back on the horse and keep going. And it's definitely tough. I think Will was, within 7/10 of me for most of this stint. So that definitely doesn't help with anything.
Huh. I just had a whole pile of boxes fall over, by the way, because
I can hear it.
Yeah.
The cat's on top of the box.
No, it wasn't Rosie it wasn't Rosie this time. It was the idiot, a guy who looks a lot like me, who put the do not stack sticker on certain things. And as someone pointed out in a photo yesterday, I might have put too many of those, quote, do not stack boxes on the bottom of things that have been stacked. So yeah, the Rubbermaid crate just folded in half and fell over, and I was able to stop most of it, then hit the mute button about halfway through as things hit the desk. So look, man, this is just the way it is. It's a true representation of my life. Let's go to Michael Goodyear. I can't foresee anything else falling on me, but if so, who knows? He says, good luck with the big move this week. Thanks, Mike. I'm getting attacked by my belongings, but other than that, I'm good. And he also said, I sincerely hope that Chabrol's homecoming means that the worst of this is over for the two of you. Thanks, Mike. And by the way, as soon as we're done here, Colton, I'm going to hit the old stop button and post this quickly and then blast across the bay and bring my bride home. So, this is my last official duty before, life gets kind of back on track. So he says, all right, for the two of you nut jags, good Lord, nut bags, do you think the fact that Colton's success this season, combined with a last name considered among racing royalty, is something that could bring in newer fans? Wow, I don't know if you knew you were part of racing royalty. That's pretty awesome. I'm part of racing servitude.
Roll out
so
the silver lining.
Exactly.
Roll.
You're going to bill me for this, I know. He says, we always talk about attracting the next generation of fans to IndyCar. And he says, while Andretti and Rahal are household names for motorsports fans, and maybe for even those who know nothing about racing, because Colton is 19, maybe it's easier for younger fans to relate to him than a Graham or Marco. He says, it seems rather fitting for me, a younger person who hasn't really gotten into IndyCar, to really take an interest in Colton as a driver and cheer for him. What do you think? Do you think there's anything here, knowing that IndyCar is always hoping to make connections through the sons of former drivers, but in reality, Graham, 30-ish, Marco, 30-ish or so, you're definitely falling in a different generation. Do you think there's a chance that you just being you could maybe bring in more of your generation?
I hope so. I don't really know how to answer that one. I don't know how to move forward with it, but I guess I hope it's more the people that kind of fell out of watching IndyCar in the 90s before the split, and then I hope they can come back and see the Herta name up front and be able to relate to it back in the late 90s. So,
He changed his name. He had a lot of plastic surgery to look younger. It's actually Brian. That's what's going on here. Let's see. We're kind of sticking with the dad theme, but hey, it's part of the baggage. Our pal Ignacio Gary says, Colton, maybe the obvious question, but are there any tricks that your dad gave you to excel there at Laguna? He says maybe something that he did not share with anyone else but you. He also has a second question, and he said, if Rossi was running second and had a real chance to get the championship, do you think you would have given up the victory to allow him to get those points where you're, quote, being a team player? A couple interesting things here.
Sorry, what was the first question?
First one was, any secrets about Laguna passed down from your father in some sort of ceremony in the backyard?
Yeah, there was 3 words, but I can't say them, obviously, because we got another 2 years on the contract of Laguna and Seika for IndyCar. So,
I like that.
And for the second question, I forgot the second question.
No worries. Rossi, if he was behind you and getting the victory would have meant a championship for Northern California's finest, would you have been a team player or no? To
give up, I've said this in a few interviews before the race, but I'll never give up a race win. A podium possibly, if I have to, but for a race win, I'd never give that up, even for his championship.
I gotta agree with you 100%, man. Think about how many drivers in the series have never won, or those who've won once and dream of a day of being able to get a second or a third. The chances of winning in IndyCar for most drivers, I mean, again, it's something that they either come in spurts or they come in a fluke situation. So I always think about things like this when we get down towards the end of the year. teammates, someone's running for the championship while other drivers make concessions. I always think of it like a football game or a playoff game or a Super Bowl, and the team loses by 3 points, some really minuscule thing. And folks point to it was the kicker. He missed that field goal. And you go, that's why he lost the race. And you go, yeah, let's go back a bit. Let's go back to the first quarter when, the quarterback threw an interception and they ran it back for a touchdown, whatever it might be. You go, if we're getting down to the very end of the game and you need something miraculous to help win, maybe don't rely on the people right then. Look back at the rest of the game, the rest of the season to say, man, if I got to pull over to let you through to get the thing that you want to get, boy, makes me wonder if some of your decisions earlier in the year should be the thing that has you going, damn, I wish I'd done things a little bit differently so I didn't have to rely on a teammate to give me a gift. Yeah. Let's go to Tyler Graff. And I don't know how many times you've seen the movie Driven. I hope it's many times. He asks, who's a bigger inspiration, Jimmy Bly or Joe Tonto?
Jimmy Bly or Joe Tonto?
Yes.
I don't know who these people are.
So that tells me you haven't seen the movie Driven, the greatest racing movie ever.
Is Joe Tonto?
That's Sylvester Stallone's character.
Yeah.
I guess
I've seen clips of it. It looked too dumb on Twitter and stuff. I never watched it.
But that's the brilliance. That's why you have to. Truly.
It was a normal Sylvester Stallone movie,
the week in IndyCar factoid that surprised me possibly the most, maybe it shouldn't. You'll tell me whether this is a surprise, should be a surprise, or a spot-on character trait. When Pato was on, I don't know, maybe end of last year or something, he told me that his favorite movie, and now series of movies, involving Sylvester Stallone is, God, I'm forgetting the name of it. The one where he has to get out of the prison. It just came out like a couple of years ago. I think it was him and Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah. It's like a robot prison or something like that?
Yes.
Oh, dude, that movie's terrible.
That's his favorite movie.
He likes that.
Yes.
That movie's awful.
I know. And he was
there's only one. There's more than one?
Yo, there's 3.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes.
I've seen the first one. I do remember that. It's like some space jail or something like. Oh yeah, like he breaks out of prisons. Yeah, they pay him to like break out of prison or something like that to see if.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. Stallone prison break movie. What is this? Escape Plan. Oh yeah. Oh, this thing's just a steaming pile. Yeah, and there was a second one, Escape Plan 2, Hades. And then the new one, which came out, and again, I think it has 50 Cent and who else? I'm just truly pulling this up. And if this is your first time listening to The Week in IndyCar, this is about as good as it gets. It's kind of random, but, come on. There are people, true professionals, who get paid a lot of money. Yeah, so, and also Dave Bautista's in it, too. Oh, yeah, just steaming piles. But he was so fired up that it's just his favorite movie. And I'm like, hey.
If he's that fired up, you can't be like, hey, this movie's terrible. You just got to let him.
Oh, totally. Oh, man. I
can't let him have it. Yeah, that movie's good.
Yeah, I can't wait till Escape Plan 7 comes out. That's going to be the best. Well, anyways, you got to watch Driven. It's one of those things where you don't watch it because it's great. You have to celebrate how bad it is and go in with that mindset of, I'm going to be laughing so hard. This is a drama, but they ended up making a comedy. And, it is so good. I'll also mention that I've got a new T-shirt coming out here done at my request that is inspired by the movie Driven. So we'll get that out here shortly. It's stupid, but it made me laugh. So let's go to Mark Harrison, who says, Colton, can you explain what's more satisfying and why? Your first win at Coda or winning in your first chance at Laguna Seca with all the exciting family history there?
Geez, they're so equal because there's so many cool reasons for both the wins. Obviously, Coda being the youngest winner ever in IndyCar was pretty amazing, and to do it in that way where we kind of were looking for a third place finish. We kind of didn't have the pace to win, but with the caution, getting a little bit lucky. So yeah, I think Coda, we were definitely third place car, and we had a little bit of luck, but that's how it goes sometimes. And at Laguna, though, we were definitely the fastest car, and I really felt like I had control the whole race and wasn't really pushing any more than I had to. I'm sure I could have built up more of a gap if I wanted to, but I didn't feel the need to. Once it kind of got to second and a half, I thought I might just save the tires as much as I could. And I guess you could see that kind of like 3 laps from the end of each stint, I would start to pull out kind of half a second a lap when their tires would fall off, to give a buffer into the pits. But I mean, I can't really choose one. I think they're both pretty equal. And I even put my first pole up there with my wins from Road America, because that was pretty special too. Just to, the win's cool because you're the best on the weekend. But the pole, I really like the pole because it just proves that you're the fastest out of everyone.
Mark, I'll just throw in some external context here because obviously it's a little bit harder for Colton, but I'm going to look back on 2019 and this season with such fondness and think of a few highlights. And one of them was standing beneath the podium at Coda there with your dad, Brian Barnhart, Nathan O'Rourke. I mean, just the whole gang. And there was this general look and feel of shock. Not shock that you were able to win, disbelief. But it was like, wow, we knew this was going to happen. We'd never imagined it was going to happen so soon. So it was just this light in everyone's eyes, like, holy what? And then last weekend, I happened to be sitting right over your pits, and it was just the same type of joy, but there was no shock or awe. Yeah. It was damn right. If anything, this should be our third, maybe our fourth this year. And it wasn't a negative thing. It was just like, that's right. We know he can do it. We know we can do it. Your crew's pit stops, Colton, were freaking amazing. I mean, just top to bottom. Every
Definitely
aspect.
Come a long way. Yeah, we've all come a long way from the beginning of the year. I know, the beginning of the year, the stops were rough. And honestly, it was making a lot of mistakes in the races and stuff. So to kind of see the progress, and then, we're going, like, Ganassi and Penske are the best in the pits right now. And, we've had a lot of close calls with them during that race. And it was, down to the boys to keep me in front of Dixon or Power a few of those times. And they pulled through.
Yeah, it was just awesome because what we saw at Monterey, obviously we have to get to 2020 first, but I got to admit, watching what happened there, it definitely felt like we were seeing a window into the future of something that's going to happen, I think, a lot more. So that was just
hope so.
Really cool to watch. Let's go to our man, Andrew C. Hey, Andrew. He says, Colton, what's been your favorite fan interaction of the season? He says, I'm thinking about weird items you're asked to sign, maybe homemade fan art, etc. He also says, congrats on a great rookie year.
Yeah, it's
any babies signed?
I don't know if I've done that one yet. I hope I get to. I've gotten a few photos given to me that were really nice. I think the coolest thing was just going around. I always love going around the campsite at Mid-Ohio. So driving around there, and in this year I actually got to judge the motorhome contest for I don't know, dressing up your motorhome and stuff. So I don't know, it was cool. And I got to go out. I went out almost every night around and just got to see what everyone's doing. It's madness in some of those places, but no, it's really cool, and it's awesome to see how many people camp at Mid-Ohio.
I love the fact, I know I'm just mentioning something personal here, so that's easy, but I love the fact that you were kind enough to do 2 of our live shows this year. And in both instances, you hung out afterwards instead of like, I got to go. Hung out, took photos, signed some stuff, just truly spent time up close and personal with fans. And those are the things that, trust me, the folks that you spent that extra time with, they will remember that for the rest of their lives. So it's just cool to see you as a rookie being like, hey, I'm a man of the people. Let me just go and embrace, everyone's here to enjoy. Let me give back the same way. So,
yeah, I mean, who the hell cares how much money you're making if you can't? I mean, the fans make us the money. They give us our work. So in a way, we kind of work for them. So
as a multi-hundredaire, I completely agree. We're going to go to our man Cale Peister, who says, Colton, after a year of IndyCar now under your belt, what track did you enjoy the most?
Definitely Laguna was probably a highlight. Really actually enjoyed Texas and doing the race there. Let's see what else. I think, obviously it's always breathtaking to drive around Road America in Mid-Ohio in an IndyCar. But definitely I think Laguna takes the cake on that one.
Brett Ross asks, Colton, how much has Davey Hamilton helped you this year?
Yeah, Davey's awesome. Actually, more of a help on the race weekends because he actually drives the 2-seater.
Nice.
So it's not even just like driving style and stuff. It's more just like, this is what the track is like. I just went out in the 2-seater. So that's super helpful. And obviously, yes, he helps me with driving aspects and just overall management of managing the weekend. Because I think people don't really understand how busy we kind of are on race weekends with meet and greets and constant meetings with the engineer, and then obviously fan interactions when you come out of the trailer and stuff. So it's really hard, especially for me this year. I missed a lot of stuff. I was late to a lot of things just from poor management of like signing a bunch of autographs and didn't want to leave the people without signing everything, or being at a meet and greet too long, talking to sponsors and stuff and missing meetings. So I guess aspects like that, obviously he's done that a lot, so it helps.
I like the idea of sneaking Davey like a set of reds, but painting them black on the sidewalls notes so they don't notice. What do you think? I got to work with Davey twice in the good old Indy Racing League as an assistant engineer, and I love that guy. He is the man. All right. Let's see. Where should we go next? All right. Dean Ackerman is voicing something that a number of folks have said. He says, hashtag me personally. That's our little thing here because I hate folks who say me personally because it's redundant. I think you should be the 2019 IndyCar Rookie of the Year. Your historical first win at COTA and then your Monterey triumph along with 3 poles, far more memorable than Felix's, that'd be Felix Rosenqvist, his season resume. He also said the Harding-Steinbrenner budget sure seemed much lower than Ganassi, and Rosenqvist's resume seems far more vast, making it hard to label the Swede a true rookie. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think this is just an opportunity to shit on Felix. So let's go.
No, I as much as I'd love to agree, I can't. Rookie of the Year has been on points since before, before my dad's time. So, as much as I would have loved to be Rookie of the Year, you have to put the whole year together. That's how it is. It's a championship for rookies. So why should it be different to the normal championship? Obviously, I guess I would say that I had more standout performances than Felix, but I also had a lot of non-standout performances compared to Felix. So, yeah, he got me this year. I'll get him in a few years when we're going for the championship, though.
Well, and I was just going to throw out here, and this is, I was going to say no disrespect, and that would have been a lie. It's complete disrespect. There are some drivers who, when we look back at their career, the fact that they were Rookie of the Year is probably the biggest highlight that they have to offer. Yeah. Whether you won this or Felix, or hell, I'll even say Santino, because it looks like he has, pretty big upside too. I think those are going to be, when you retire and I'm writing, hopefully I'm still alive and writing that story, but when I'm writing the Colton Herta retires from IndyCar, about the 19th thing I'm going to list among your achievements would have been Rookie of the Year, or same for Felix. It's one of those things where you go, it's cool, but trust me, when we get to St. Pete next year, it's not even going to be a thought. All you're going to be thinking about is, wonder if I could be an IndyCar champion in my second year. So, as will he. Dean also asks, Colton, were the Monterey area victory tacos better than the ones you had in Austin after the Circuit of the Americas win? And to be honest, I haven't followed social media a lot since last weekend. Did you indeed partake in Monterey victory tacos, or did you wait till you got home?
Unfortunately, well, I got Taco Bell on the way home.
No.
Let me explain, because there's more of a story. So I was with my buddy going home, Christian, and we went to this taco place, and he had like a McDonald's bag from earlier, and he threw it away in their trash can. And the guy got very offended. He said, "Why are you being so disrespectful, throwing stuff away in my trash can?" And we were both like, "What?" And so this guy goes babbling on and starts yelling at us, actually, for throwing away trash. So we just naturally are laughing about it, how ridiculous this is, that he's getting mad at us for throwing trash away in his trash can.
And was this in Monterey or somewhere in the area?
This is in Monterey. Well, while we're there to spend money in his store. So needless to say, we didn't spend money there. We left because he got mad at us for throwing trash away in his trash can.
Wow.
So we didn't. Sorry, Monterey, but your tacos are apparently terrible. No, we definitely got a bad apple. The reviews are good on Yelp, but definitely wasn't good. So no, I'll have to. Maybe next year I can win and I can spend a little bit more time up there and get some tacos.
I am so bummed you went to frickin' Taco Bell. Well,
I did try to get tacos.
You did?
It wasn't from a lack of trying.
So what? Because I haven't eaten at Taco Bell in, I think, about 15 years. I don't know what's on their menu. I see the stuff they put on the commercials. It just looks like you're going to shoot fire out of your ass when you're done eating it. Yeah, but what did you choose from the... This is seriously bumming me out. So first of all, you have to know this. You have to know, beware of Taco Bells in general, at least in Speedway, Indiana, because they're fine places to get robbed. Less so in Monterey. But what did you choose off the frickin' Taco Bell menu after winning the biggest sporting event in the Monterey area that weekend, where in theory folks should be greeting you in their car, bowing, handing you tacos? What did you order?
So I got one traditional hard shell taco, the regular beef and cheese and all that, and then I got a cheesy chalupa, which is sounds incredible. It's basically, people know it's like one of the best things on the menu. Basically, it's just kind of like a pita bread taco. It's like a soft shell taco, but it's really thick, almost like a naan bread or a pita bread.
Okay.
So yeah, I can hear the discernment in your voice. So I did get proper tacos when I was here at home.
Okay.
Proper tacos.
And again, man, look, one look at me and you can understand that I have nothing to say here. I haven't taken as good a care of myself as I should. I'm just saying, though, and I guess, again, at 19, like Taco Bell is actually, one of the 5 basic food groups. I'm just coming from a point of like, dude, you just kicked the ass of asses on Sunday. You earned the right to have whatever you want. Just the fact that Taco Bell was the place, it's just kind of killing me here. But hey, that's what it was. Maybe, and I'll talk to my people at Monterey. Planning for next year's race, knowing that a repeat could happen, we need to have some proper food trucks there. Proper Mexican.
We should bring a King Taco truck up. It's not far at all. It's like 4.5 hours from downtown LA.
we can absolutely make that happen. I am confident. So, all right, let's get to some more here. Wind down here in the next 10 minutes or so, because I got to go pick up my wife and bring her home. Where shall we go? Here's a great one, just because it was pretty amazing to see the application. This comes in from Christian Danevsky, who says, Colton, how are you able to use what you learned from Portland in terms of tire deg and implement it so quickly in your performance at Laguna? He says, epic drive, and says, thank you for helping out my man, Joseph Newgarden. So, obvious, and you've mentioned this, I know, in post-race interviews, but the thing that did impress me, Colton, was you experienced what you experienced at Portland with pushing hard the higher deg, and made a brilliant and masterful adjustment in the next race. I don't know if everybody is able to adapt that quickly, so maybe just share a little something about that.
Yeah, it was a bit of a wow factor, because I was having to hold off Scott Dixon, and obviously he's right in your mirror, so puts a lot of pressure on you while you're trying to save fuel. So you're not only holding off Scott Dixon, but you're trying to hold him off in fuel saving mode, which is nearly impossible for a rookie. But no, definitely put me under pressure and used up all my tires. So I made sure that didn't matter who was behind me tomorrow, on Sunday at Laguna. I was going to hold him off, and it happened to be Dixon again. So it was kind of nice that. And the thing was, in Portland, he didn't even want to pass me. He was making better fuel. He was literally just taunting me and doing exactly what he does, is just wearing out the people in front of him in the mirrors, and then getting right up on him and going into the pits and passing him in the pits on an out lap or on an in lap and going a lap longer. So he was just, I knew what he was doing, and I was still just letting him do it. So at Laguna, I made sure to stay calm, not drive over the edge, and I knew that if I did that, it was gonna be tough to pass me on that day, because the car was so quick.
That's probably the most underreported aspect of your drive. Just again, it's crazy to think it was just a couple days ago, but under the most intense pressure, there's no one in IndyCar that does what Scott Dixon does, to all the points that you just mentioned, where you know the guy is the best of everybody. He's proven that. And just that brutal pressure that he puts on you, while almost never using up all of his resources. You know, rarely do you see Dixon just out of tires before everybody. It was really impressive to see you do what you had to do, not get tricked or pushed into destroying your tires, and having the guy behind you who's, again, proven to be the best at effectively causing the guy in front to panic, overdrive, do something. I don't know, man. It's stuff like that where, for those who are observing, it's crazy to think you're doing this as a rookie and looking like you've been doing this for a long time. So that part's pretty cool.
That's why it was so special, because that race had everything. You know, I was holding more power off at the end, trying to make a pretty big fuel number, and he was able to go flat out. And yeah, there's just it's just a lot of everything, and a lot of champions breathing down my neck the whole time. So very well deserving, I think.
I also love the fact, and again, this isn't blowing smoke, it's just talking with the other drivers after the race and getting a general feel. There's a lot of people wondering what the hell they're going to do next year when you're back with more experience, because if you're solving some of these monstrous puzzles in terms of certain drivers at certain teams and whatnot, if you're solving some of those puzzles now and learning and adapting at the rate that you are, anyways, man, I cannot wait to watch your career just continue to unfold, because
thank you.
Let's see, let's go to this one's from John Foreman. I don't know how much you'll be able to answer this, but I figure it'd be a good one to throw at you. He says, talking about the announcement of your move to Andretti Autosport next year, he's curious, will your entire Harding Steinbrenner team come along with you? Will there be some changes? So not asking you to break any news that you shouldn't hear, but curious if you know. I would hope that you and our man Nathan O'Rourke, your race engineer, are going to stay together, but just curious if you know how some of this stuff might pan out, or if it's still under discussion.
Oh no, for sure. Nathan had to be part of the deal. I wasn't signing for them if I couldn't have Nathan. That was in the deal, in the contract. He had to be with me, because he's, not a lot of people know Nathan O'Rourke and Andy Listas, that are my two engineers that kind of drove the fight that we had this year.
Oh yeah,
and really kind of took the Speedway car to another level, to where, I guess you saw in qualifying the fastest Honda, and also faster than the teammates as well by a good chunk. So they get a lot of my praise, but I'm not 100% sure. I imagine it would stay very similar to what we had this year, maybe a few changes, but honestly it's nothing that they've talked to me about. I told Michael that I need these guys on my team next year, and I named off a few names that I don't know what they were going to do, if they're going to get rid of people and completely clean them out and fill in new people. But I said, I need these guys. They're awesome to work with, and they do a good job. And obviously they love racing, so it was cool.
That is really cool. Let's stay with this Andretti theme. And I love some of the questions that have come in. This comes in from Justin at J_Trock_71. He says, Colton, what's your relationship with Alexander Rossi? What is that like? And he says, do you think that your relationship with him could change next year if you end up being his biggest threat for an IndyCar title?
I sure hope not. I don't think Alex is really that type of person. I think his mindset's always really good. He's actually very helpful, even when I'm faster than him. I guess, for example, Laguna, he still helped me out, and I was faster than him all weekend. So I don't really think that he'll change that much. He's actually been a really good teammate this year, and I've had a few weekends where I've done better jobs than him. So for sure, I'm looking forward to kind of continuing our relationship off track. He's a really good guy. I like hanging out with Alex.
Maybe another underreported area too, and that is Alexander just gets rave reviews from his teammates, from those within the organization, just as a guy, as a person, as someone to help. He might not be a man of a lot of words publicly, but just reputation-wise, to those who are closest to him in the organization, just absolutely A-class. So really cool to see that.
He's really straightforward too, which helps. If we're talking about different stuff during the race and he disagrees, so he'll very much so voice his opinion straight up, which helps in a lot of ways. So good. Really glad that Andretti actually signed up for next year, because I think it's going to be a good year next year for Andretti Autosport.
I'm going to go to Scott Imus. He says, I know Robin Miller dubbed you Hertamania 2.0. He says, however, since you're not just a reboot of your dad, he says, how do we feel about hashtag Hertapalooza instead? He says, I like that. Hertapalooza sounds good.
What even is a palooza, though?
Well, Lollapalooza, pretty amazing, I guess, forerunner of Coachella and many other things. So I actually went to the...
Is it just like event?
Yeah. A big, I guess, impressive style event is how it's generally used. You're not big like, Graham Rahal height, or you're not as fat and wide as me, so you're not big in that sense. But, I mean, you keep doing what you're doing, man. Big is definitely going to be a part of what you do, and, you make things look like they're pretty big and important events when you kick ass. So, I don't know if Hertapalooza works. Are there any
I
other
always
nicknames
liked,
we don't know of?
I always liked Hooligan Herta. That's what I was nicknamed in Europe when I was racing with Carlin. That's my Carlin nickname.
Hooligan Herta.
Hooligan Herta.
Yeah. Actually, I like that. I like that a lot. And I think
I got the nickname because me and Lando Norris were testing. We were doing a shakedown test, and he had 4 cars at Thruxton. It was like our first or second test, and I went out and I tubbed my car, and then he went out maybe 2 hours later and tubbed his car, and so the day was done so early. We're just trying to shake down the cars, get to know them, and we both just destroyed the cars.
that fits. I think I wrote this, and I think one of my listeners wrote it as well, but definitely after you win last weekend and knowing the family history, I think we are just going to start referring to the track as Laguna Herta. That one certainly fits, I think. So, yeah, I do like Hooligan Herta. That one for sure. Let's see. Let's wind down here with one or two more. Going to go with Lance Snyder. He says, Colton, what is one part of your IndyCar game that you want to improve next year? It could be driving side, working with engineers, reviewing data, etc. Curious if there's something you're looking at next year and go, all right, I'm going to focus on that to step up.
I think the short oval qualifying, it wasn't really lacking this year. I think it was mostly down to points. You know, how they order the qualifying. The last in points has to go first and clean up the track kind of halfway through, and then it kind of gets better from there. So really, like, the top 5 in points have the best shot at getting pole in normal circumstances. But I still think maybe I was lacking a little bit there. I remember getting out of the car at Iowa, and that's like the only time I've ever been like, this is so messed up. Like, this is so messed up, getting out of the car and just being shaking, my whole body just shaking, and not really like scared, but just like, holy crap, that was just gnarly, and just kind of disbelief of like how, because Iowa, the steering traces are gnarly. No one has a good setup there. It's just who can, not suck the most. So no, but the qualifying aspect of huge lifts and being on the edge and the car being super nervous, that's the only track that it's actually kind of fast when you're loose on the ovals. So you kind of have to drive it loose in qualifying, which is not fun at all. And I was, I'm not one to turn down from the speed factor, but that was gnarly going, 180, 190 around there. But no, it was that's like, I guess, one aspect of the game. I would say still need a little bit on fuel saving and tire saving, but obviously made big gains on that in Laguna.
I just love the fact here, if there was any question that you're Californian, the fact that you use gnarly 3 times in your description, it's the best thing ever. It's absolutely the best thing ever. You don't get that from a Spencer Pigot interview, for example. So yeah, you're hashtag winning on that one. 2 more questions. They're both fun and light. First one's from our pal Tim Calabro. He says, Colton, now as a full-time Andretti driver, how much of your off-season will be spent conjuring up pranks for your teammates?
Oh boy, I definitely have a few in mind.
Because that's the culture there, right? I mean, it goes back to the days of your old man there. So you would not be doing your job. It might even be in your contract. You gotta jack with people.
So I've got one that I've been working on, and I think we're deep enough in the podcast that any of the racing drivers would not be listening.
Oh, they checked out after 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully no one posts about this on Twitter.
Don't yeah, friends, listeners, just save this for yourself.
Ruin it.
Yes, don't ruin it.
You'll trust me. You'll know when it happens because I will let everyone know. But so I have an idea of, I would only do this on a test weekend, and I'd never do it in anyone's bus. Or a test, not a test weekend. And I'd never do it in anyone's bus. But I really want to get crickets and release them in somebody's hotel room. So when they go to sleep at night, It's just cricket, 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 like 50 crickets in the room just chirping all night.
Oh, that you've got a winner right there. And, if you have a teammate who's acting wrong towards you, I mean, I've seen some really interesting videos of where you can hide shrimp in a variety of places within a room. Could be a motor coach, could be a car. Yeah. And, oh, boy, provided they know it's you, they'll either never treat you wrong again or they'll try and kill you. But, yeah, the crickets is a great starting point. I love that.
The crickets, yeah. And yeah, you just kind of have to hope they get in the corner and not in the bed and stuff, and they're not all visible so they don't freak out, so they don't, change rooms right away. So it's definitely got to be tactical. But
tactical cricket release.
Tactical cricket release. That's going to be one that I will do.
That sounds like a great album name for a Future Zibs recording too.
Tactical cricket release.
There we go. All right.
Oh yeah. Wait, hold on. I have to plug this in. So, obviously you're a big fan of the band.
100%. I'm going to show you the tattoo.
I told you at the live show, and people might have heard it before, but we are going on tour. It's a West Coast tour. We play Phoenix, San Diego, Los Angeles, Fresno, San Francisco, and Sacramento. And we will, if you follow my Instagram and Twitter, you'll find out. We haven't released anything yet, but you'll know the dates and the venues hopefully soon, in the next few weeks.
So here's a related question. So knowing that when we recorded the live podcast Friday at Laguna, you mentioned that, and some folks seemed genuinely interested. At that point, you were a lowly one-time IndyCar race winner. Now that you have stepped up and doubled the amount of wins, not that I expect folks to change in this short amount of time, but have you seen or felt at all your success in your rookie year actually raise the profile of the band and folks wanting to look in, check it out? When you go on tour, are you expecting to be received or promoted as the IndyCar driver who drums for a band? Or do you just want to be the dude who's in a band with his friends?
I mean, I sure hope people are checking out the Zibs, because it's such a cool thing that I kind of get to do away from the weekends. And I'm actually supposed to be at band practice in 10 minutes, but I'm going to have to miss it. But I'm going to have to show up late. But no, it's been super cool to be able to do that. I do like to do it as a side gig. I don't like to mix it with racing. Because I do it as kind of like an escape from the race weekends of kind of the grind of the season and getting Mondays off or Tuesdays off.
Totally get it.
At home. And, for us West Coast people, sometimes you can't even fly out on Sunday night. So you fly home Monday and you're home for a little bit of Monday, a little bit of Tuesday, and then you fly back Wednesday morning because you have to be there for Thursday morning meetings, and you can't fly in Thursday because you live on the West Coast. And so it's a constant grind living out here, and really anywhere you live, it's a constant grind. But definitely being out here, it takes a lot more days to travel. I guess you can relate, Marshall, but yeah,
it's well worth it though.
Like it. Yeah, I mean, obviously spending that much time on racing 6 days a week. On some weeks. So it's nice to kind of have that day off and of nothingness and just kind of hang out with my friends doing the stuff on the band. We have an album coming out soon. We have t-shirts out. I will post about them within the next week, and a way to purchase them. It's probably going to be through like a Venmo or something. So we don't really have a shop set up. So if you if you want a shirt, check out my Instagram. I'll be posting something soon.
So I love the fact that you're going to have to big time your fellow band members. Sorry, y'all. I was doing an interview. I couldn't make it to practice on time.
Yeah.
I'm a double IndyCar race winner. So let's just stay here for just a quick moment again. So I know you've described the band's music style when asked, but I don't know if I've ever asked you your musical influences, the bands that you either grew up on or loved or reached back and learned about and listened to before your time. But what kind of music are you listening to just to enjoy your normal life?
I like hardcore punk rock. So I like bands like the Dead Kennedys.
Oh.
The Circle Jerks. The Epsilons, Minor Threat, Bad Brains. Let's see. I like Misfits, Black Flag, obviously. No, there's pretty much any fast hardcore punk rock.
I love how deep the catalog is there, and it's a lot of stuff, before you were born kind of stuff too. I mean, I never got a chance to see Black Flag, but I was a huge Rollins band fan, and he was cool. Got to see the Rollins band a number of times back in the day too. Plus, they were a part of the first Lollapalooza tour as well. So,
really?
A little callback there.
No, yeah, Flag they still play. I think it's just, I think it's one or two of them, and I don't know who's still in it. But they actually just played in my town in northern Los Angeles about a month or two ago. I was obviously racing, so I couldn't go, but it would have been cool. Obviously, you don't the bands that I love, I don't get to see because they're all either getting old and passing away, or they just don't play anymore. So, yeah, I think it's tough. I think the Dickies still tour. There's still a few guys that still play. There's a band called Off with a couple of Alan McDonald and a couple of different hardcore punk rockers that kind of formed and still play.
Graham Rahall's race engineer as well. Very impressive guy. Yes. I'm just thankful you didn't say like Angels and Airwaves or Blink 182 because I probably would have smashed my microphone. So that is.
No, I mean they're good. They're just a little mainstream.
Yeah. Good man. Oh, I love this. All right, we're gonna close this. Another little bit of a callback here. We opened the show with our man Vincent 1701. We're gonna close with him, and he says, "Colton, we know that you have tacos after a race win. If you could name a food truck based on tacos, what would it be called?"
Oh. Jeez.
Huh?
I never thought about this.
Because I'm thinking if we're going to be telling the folks at King Taco next year, September, they're going to need to plan to make that drive. They would have time to wrap that thing in some sort of custom Monterey Herta type thing. What would we call the custom Colton Herta taco food truck?
Maybe High Speed Herta Huevos and Tacos.
Done.
Gotta be something like that. I'm trying to think of a Spanish word related to tacos that starts with an H, but I'm having trouble.
Well, as a kid who grew up in California and took French in high school instead of Spanish, which still makes no sense, I can't help you here at all, brother. Well, my man, as always, truly, I love it when we have you on the show.
Thank you.
You just you blend perfectly with the serious questions and the non-serious questions, which is a great fit for the way my mind works. So thanks for making some time. I guess I should tell folks that this is about the 17th reschedule, so I appreciate you having to roll with my move and the issues here. But
it's all right. I'm not doing anything. So.
Well, thanks not only for making time, man, but boy, this has been one of the best IndyCar years I can remember, period. And you are a big contributor to making it a lot of fun. And damn, most times when the season's over, I'm like, I want to talk about IndyCar. Give me a couple of weeks or a month. I wish we could start next season right now because I just want to see what you.
This is the first time that I've really felt that way. Usually, you kind of want a week off, 2 weeks off, and you're like, hey, you can get going again. But I was right off the track. I was kind of unhappy. I just won the race. So I was kind of unhappy I couldn't go win next weekend. So it kind of sucks in that sense. But
the hard life of an IndyCar driver. I want to win more, damn it. Well, my man, thanks as always, and hopefully sometime here as we get into the proper off season, we'll have you on again and talk about more good stuff sent in by our listeners. And with all that said, get off the band practice. I'm going to go get my queen and start life anew here. And thanks to everyone here for listening to the Week in IndyCar and the Marshall Pruett podcast. Brought to you by Cooper Tires, the Justice Brothers, our awesome friends at TorontoMotorsports.com, who I think, do they have a Colton Herta shirt for sale?
I believe they do. They might have one or two.
Yes. And also,
sure they have one.
our dear friends at Bell Racing Helmets. And we'll look forward to speaking to you next week with I have no idea who. But thanks for listening, Colton. Speak to you soon.
Bye-bye. Thank you.